started here, there was no driveway. We had to put this in. Everything we got here was just raw land, and there was no opening for anything. So anything that's cleared over here was done by us. You know, everything we do, we have to clear for. You know, that's where the cabin's going to be eventually. But all this whole area we cleared, whether it be by machine or by hand. And a lot of it was by hand. This driveway I did, one of the first things I did coming up here, I made this driveway. It was completely done by hand. I didn't have any machines. The only machine I had at the time was the Ranger, which maybe we can show. I do have pictures from back then. Maybe we can show before and after of some of that stuff as we go. But I just want to give a recap of what we have done here. Little tour of the property, I guess. So here is that's all my electrical conduit that has to get run still. But I'm still I want to get the solar panels up, get the pump house in, and then I'll figure out exactly where the powerhouse is going to be. Pump house is going to be up in that corner, just beyond Buttercup. I'm thinking of putting the powerhouse just down the hill a little bit, kind of where the rear bucket on the excavator is, maybe just behind it. So the pump house and the powerhouse will kind of be next to each other over there. Kind of keeps everything tucked out of the way. And because eventually, like out through here, I don't want a house in the middle or any kind of shed right up through there. Not too much, because we're already gonna have a barn here. So I just don't want too much, because that's gonna be pasture out there, hopefully. Yeah, so this is all the piers for the barn, electrical conduit, and my solar panels. We got one extra Mafia block, which I got just in case we need it for something, which is possible. This, the woodshed I built probably a few years ago now. It's been working like a champ. I didn't go Texture 111 on this, so I did pressure treated. 3 pressure treated boards, and then I did a shiplap pine on top for siding. And since I've installed this, the porcupines haven't touched it, so that just shows the difference between the two. Because when I show you the bathroom, which you may have already seen, they really chew it up good. One thing I have to do too, constant upkeep up here, is either get rid of this tree, this one pine, because it's overhanging the top of the woodshed, which is not good. Just cut it down or trim it back. I've already trimmed it back quite a bit, so I don't want to go too crazy. In some respects, I think I should just cut it. I don't like to cut trees when I don't have to. I like the trees, so I try and be very selective when I'm cutting. Out here just wasn't really an option. Out here we just had too much going on to leave any trees. I was gonna leave a couple, but too much to get in and out of, and with the roots and trying to trench everything, it just wouldn't be worth it. Of course, our cabin, which is now going on, I'd say 3-4 years framed. We framed it with pressure treated, knowing that it would have to sit. I didn't think it would sit this long. And at this point, we got all kinds of weeds growing up underneath, so we got to take care of those weeds. Keep the moisture down. I know the wood's good for it, but so I think this front section here this porch, and that wraps all the way around. That's deck and front porch, because the cabin actually overhangs over the front, where the loft is. So, and then I think also what we're going to be doing is adding another pier out here somewhere and extending the whole house out to this part, where this was just going to be like a little carport, and that was this area just in front of the quads. That room was going to be like a mud room where you could just go in, get your stuff up in the wintertime when you're hunting or out working. You can clean up in there, and that way you're not dragging all the dirt and everything into the house. But I think now we're going to extend the house over to here and maintain that whole line, and then have this, the carport and the mudroom, moved to the left. So it's a little bit of an expansion. I mean, it's quite a bit actually. You're talking 10 by 40, 10 by 30 something. I forget the exact measurements, but so once we get all of these other things done, the well's done, the septic is done, and all the power is up and running, then the barn is built. I also have a shelter logic structure we're going to be putting up this year to house all the machines and everything, so that we don't have to put everything back in the trailer and every time we come up, and it keeps the trailer cleaner, because we do sleep in that has bunks and stuff. So there's all the building wood that we got from Jamaican Cottage Shop. I love their wood. The wood shed. Like I said, it's just everything. It's amazing how stuff grows up here. It's just, here's our bathroom. That was probably the second thing I did up here was build that. Nice mullein plant. It's getting ready to bloom. This is our bathroom. It's got a solar powered light, which actually still works even after 6-7 years this thing's been built. Looks like I got a little leak coming in that corner. I gotta look at before it gets worse. You can kind of see the full-length mirror for the ticks, corner shelves. Pretty cool. And then probably one of the third things we did was we added that little Rubbermaid shed, which has held up very good. That was another thing that came around the same time as this bathroom, because when I first got up here, I did not realize that when I was doing the driveway, how important just having a bathroom, a shower, someplace to store stuff was going to be. Is crucial. So I had to get all that stuff in place before we could build anything. So the bathroom. I'll show you what the porcupine's been doing this side too. Chewing right through it. Now they don't go all the way through, they just scratch the outside, but bad enough. And then the back is really bad because this is where they so I gotta do something about these porcupines before they totally wreck this thing. And down yonder, just past the pavilion, I built a little outdoor shower. Love that. Nothing like an outdoor shower up here. Pavilion I built maybe 2 years ago with the help of some friends. We put that up. That's been holding up great. Even that still has some finished work on the fascia boards and stuff, and some finished staining on it just to protect the wood, because none of that wood is pressure treated. That's all just pine because it sits on footings. You can kind of see down here.
Okay, I'm going to jump in and voice over for a little bit so that YouTube doesn't take the video down for copyright infringement of the song playing on the radio in the background. So this area we plan on framing out a floor and building a deck on it. We'd like to screen it in, possibly using it as an outdoor kitchen. Having a spot to go regardless to get out of the elements and away from all the bugs is absolutely necessary up here. So we have found this to be quite the refuge. When it rains, it pours, and also just from the beating of the sun in the middle of the day, sometimes it's nice just to get under there and let the breeze come through and get away from the sun. We want to screen it in because of the bugs, so hopefully that'll help. And this is pretty much our hangout spot. The kids like to hang out here, we hang out, and we want to make it a little bit more conducive to that. The lamp that we have hanging is just battery operated, and that's for at night, but we do plan on putting up a little battery operated chandelier that I picked up. Hopefully it throws enough light, and as soon as the solar panels are hooked up, we plan on running some string lights. Troy tries to keep this area mowed and maintained as much as possible. After we first cleared the area, we had covered it with crushed stone to try to keep the weeds down, and it does help a lot with ticks. However, as you can see, the forest kind of takes back over and takes claim. And as the seasons pass, weeds grow through. Each time he mows, he tries to push a little bit further and tries to clear a little bit more each time.
And as a matter of fact, it's all wild strawberry. You can kind of see there's a little strawberries all over the place.
We try to build a lot of small rock walls too, and that really holds back a lot of the growth as well.
But yeah, this was the outdoor shower, which we haven't used in a while. We could. Not really sure why we haven't. It's kind of a pain in the butt to get set up now. I had it set up so everything was already there, but because what you have to do is fill this barrel with water from the stream. Initially I had, you can see on the back, a filter, a pump, a 12-volt pump, and a battery. That would operate a little puddle sucking sump pump out of the barrel. The problem was it wasn't enough to operate the pump, wasn't enough power to pull the water and send it through with enough force to turn the inline, because I have one of those camp inline water heaters that hooks up to the propane. So you just set your propane tank down here on the ground and run your line up. Right here is where I was mounting the inline heater, right there, and then the water just connects out of the bottom of it right there. So that is how that connects. Out of the other side is the other side of the heater is what connects to the nozzle, and that would connect from here to here and overhang so that you can take your shower. I had built a little patio down here out of stone, something you could, so you weren't just sitting in the grass and in the mud. Okay, continuing down. More spots I like to mow. I like to mow like little cubbies and stuff. Try and keep as much clear as I can, because we spent so much time clearing all this land. I can't just let it all grow back in. Even back here, I started yesterday mowing all this back because we had this whole area where the trees are cleared out and we've kind of let it go, and now you see what happens. It's just solid ferns and trees and everything else popping up, so, and berries. So I try and keep that stuff cleaned up because it's efforts that just are wasted if we don't at least try and maintain what we've done already. So back in this area this is where I like to shoot, because I have a hill that goes all the way up there. So the whole backdrop is hill, and I put a little target stand there, and you can shoot from back here or get a little bit closer, actually further. With some of the guns we go a lot further, but for short range this is great little flanking station for 22s and 9mm and stuff like that. The 308 stuff, usually I shoot from all the way back behind where the cabin is. That gives me enough. That's about 100 yards back to there. So here's the stream. Stream's running good. Can't really see much of it right now because it's kind of covered. But normally I try and keep this opened up so you actually see the stream. And there's usually like fish and stuff in there too. Another spot I like to keep nice and clear over here, not only for the shooting, but just keep the weeds down so the kids can run around. It limits on the ticks and stuff because the brush isn't so high that the ticks like, so that helps. We were maintaining a pathway that goes up the hill here, and then it goes back down and runs actually quite a ways through. It's an old skidder trail up there that became a game trail, and so you can really follow it actually all the time because the animals love to use that trail. So we were trying to keep that all maintained and keep it mowed all the way up and around. But it's kind of getting grown in, so that's another thing got to work on. I mean, everything up here is an upkeep. It's constant every year. Stuff grows and keeps going. So here's the target, my targets, which you can see. The white one there lost the battle against my AR-10. One of the last times I was up, I hit it with my AR-10 and knocked it right off the chains. That's a pretty powerful gun. It's 308, just like my other hunting guns, but I like that 308 round. So back to this, so if we go up this trail, I like to keep mowed as well, just to maintain the trail. And like I said, it keeps the weeds down. And also, we already took the time to clear this spot, so I always like to maintain it. It's a beautiful spot back here. Unfortunately, like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, a tree fell right in the middle, a huge tree, and I have to still cut it up, because that actually, just beyond the tree, actually leads down to where the stream is, and it's a beautiful open spot because all the trees keeps it covered. It doesn't grow a lot of underbrush or anything, so it's a beautiful spot if I can get this huge pine cut up and out of the way. I'd like to kind of wait to cut that pine up until I get the sawmill here, and I can mill all the wood from it. That'd be some nice pine planks. That's going to be a whole nother video. Finding my spot and setting up the sawmill. I want to build an enclosure around it. It is a portable wood miser that I'm getting, but I've been waiting for it almost a year now. But we'll see where I set it up. I'm thinking of setting it up over on the other side of the pavilion there. So that is pretty much everything around our camp. That's just the camp area. I mean, we have the whole logged side of the property that is a mess right now, but it's open anyways. And we'll get over there when we have time. We gotta finish up these projects up here first. Fire pit. This was a box I basically built out of old leftover decking, and I took the good pieces and built this box out of them. It's very solid, it's made with like 4x4s, and put a diamond plate top on it for like this is where we were cooking most of the time. Now we cook over under the pavilion for the most part, but so I had made this box because when we were up here in the summer, we go through so much ice with our coolers, and especially with the kids going in and out of the coolers constantly. So I built this to house the coolers, so it's a cooler for the coolers. I lined it with insulation, but you see all the ants? That's the problem. Insulated the top. So the ants like to make nests inside this pink insulation. So they have tunneled their way. This whole thing is filled with ants. So it makes it pretty much useless to me at this point. What it's good for right now is storing some of my electrical supplies for the solar. I'm not sure what I'm going to make out of it, what it'll end up becoming, but I need to get all that insulation out of it at some point, and we'll use it for something. It's a beautiful little cabin. John Deere tractor, the mower, push mower. All this stuff has to stay out right now. It sucks, but until I get some of this stuff built, I have no place to put it. And I hate having the stuff stay out because I like to take care of stuff. But propane tank we're gonna use. This is where we put all the brush, which I think you've seen from other sites. But even over here, I had to mow this area yesterday because it had all started to grow in. So I pulled some and mowed some. I even mowed down this path down to where the Kubota is down there. That's a trail that we always like to maintain, but haven't this year because we haven't had time. So I started mowing it yesterday, and the mower crapped out on me down there. So, and I couldn't get it started again. So that's another thing I gotta look at, figure out what's wrong with the mower. This stuff still has to get cleared out. Stumps pulled. I ran out of time with the excavator that week. Love to get that excavator back because, man, that thing is awesome. Saves you on time so much. But okay, that's about it for now. At least you have a recap of camp, where we're at. I'm gonna get set up to start doing some more framing. Once I do that, I'll video it again. That should just be in a few minutes, but okay.